सत श्री अकाल एंड वेलकम टू सीजे सिद्धू शो। जिस तरह तुहानूं पता ही है कि एवरी थर्सडे असीं तुहाडे रूबरू हुंदे हैं ते थोड़ी गल कराई दी है मोस्टली मेरे शो च पॉलिटिशियंस नाल एंड कदे कदे कम्यूनिटी वर्करस नाल गल हुंदी है या किसी स्पैशल डॉक्टर स्पैशलिस्ट नाल, जिवें कोविड दे विच काफ़ी मेरे प्रोग्राम डॉक्टरां नाल होए सी। ये देखीदा कि कम्यूनिटी विच की चल रहा, किस चीज़ की लोड़ हैगी है, तो फिर असीं उन्हां दे जिहड़े मेन जिहड़े काम करने वाले है या उत्थे स्पैशलिस्ट जिहड़े हैगे आ उन्हां नूं सद के थोड़े रूबरू कराईदा ताकि थोड़े तक फस्ट हैंड इनफॉर्मेशन पहुँचाई जा सके। एंड यू नो पोलिटिकली वट इज़ हैपनिंग इन द लैंडस्केप, लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग while we are talking. There is a Trump and Biden's debate going on. I love to see it once I finish my show at 8 o'clock. So उत्थे देखते हैं कि अज उन्होंने शो किस तरह। बाकी अपने जिहड़े फैडरली है, you know, the liberals are sliding in the polls and the conservatives are riding the wave. So will be interesting. साल पिया हले अपने फैडरल इलैक्शन देखो की चेंज हुंदा। मिस्टर ट्रूडो ते लॉट ऑफ प्रैशर हैगा टू स्टैप डाउन। देखते हैं पोलिटिकली उहदा की रिजल्ट हुंदा है। प्रोविंशली तुहानूं पता ही है कि जिहड़ी NDP is doing very well in the polls and BC United gone to the bottom and BC Conservatives, totally unknown party, never elected a candidate for last 70 years and they are right behind the NDP and BC United जिन्हां ने गवर्नमेंट रन की है almost number of years and previously Christy Clark under BC Liberals. So ਉਹ ਵੀ polls ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ struggle ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ। So there is a lot happening. City Hall ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ City of Surrey ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ finally Brenda Locke accepted that deal with the provincial deal with RCMP. So and Surrey Police Services. So now it will be a Surrey Police Services finally. So that one issue is gone side by. Thank God, man. It took a long time. So ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ program है very special program, a little different than other programs. ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈ। ਐਂਡ ਨਾਓ ਦਾ organization called Options Community Services, a non-profit organization, is a registered charity. So ਇਹ 1971 ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਾਇਮਰਲੀ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਵਾਈਟ ਰੌਕ, ਲੈਂਗਲੀ ਏਰੀਏ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਰੈਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। And their mantra is a healthy community as a safe and clean environment and where we all should have a sense of belonging. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ, I don't want to take the thunder away from my guests. So they will tell what they do, how they do it, why they do it. So that question is to my two guests here, well, one guest for these questions, and that's Kamaljit Lehal. She is well known in the community, worked in the community as a law practitioner for last 34 years. She just told me so. And so that's her specialty, but she is a chairperson of this organization, Options Community Services. She's always being a strong advocate for women fleeing violence and has been actively involved in a policy and legal reform for immigrant women fleeing violence. ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਂਦਾ ਆ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੂਮਨਸ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਊਗੀ, ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੀ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ we came long ways but it's not done yet. The violence is still there, the discrimination is still there, and there is a lot of questions I will ask. And so in 2019 she was the recipient of the BC CBA Equality and Diversity Award. So as you know, DE&I, diversity, equity and inclusion, is a big issue with all the big companies, all the governments everywhere. So how they deal with that, I have a bunch of questions about that. Welcome Kamaljit to CJ Sidhu Show.
Thank you CJ for having us here.
Yeah, you're welcome. And दूसरे ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਸ਼ਕਲ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈ and probably you seen him performing somewhere. Ranj Singh, his band called Discriminators, and he formed this band in 2007. Ranj on vocals and 12-string guitar. Then his team, he will let us know, have a very good team. And he got the fame when they performed at 2010 Winter Olympics. So ਉਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ 2010 ਪੈਰਾ ਓਲੰਪਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਾਰ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਅਨਫੋਰਚੂਨੇਟਲੀ। ਸੋ ਦੇ ਵਰ ਨਾਟ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਪਰਫੋਰਮ ਐਂਡ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ। ਐਂਡ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਵੀਅਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਲਬਮ ਹੈਗੀ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ਡ ਇਨ 2007 ਟਾਈਟਲਡ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਮੈਨ and later solo album called The Man Cold in 2016. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਰਿਟਾਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਸੀ, but now he's back in action. Welcome Ranj to CJ Sidhu show.
Well, thank you.
So Kamaljit, tell us a little bit about options, your role with the options.
Sure. So Options Community Service, it's been around a long time. ਮੇਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਜੌਬ ਸੀਗੀ Options ਨਾਲ ਸੀਗੀ, ਉਦੋਂ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ they used to call it Surrey Community Services, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਚਾਈਲਡ ਕੇਅਰ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਯੂਥ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਮੈਂ। ਸੋ that was right out of high school. ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਜੌਬ ਸੀਗੀ at Options. And ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ after I became a lawyer, then in 1996, I was recruited to be a board member on the very board of Options. So since 1996, it'll be 28 years this year, I've been on the board.
Wow,
and
that's a long time.
It's been a long time, yeah. There's been other board members who have been on it longer than I have, but for the past 4 years, I'll be completing my 4th year as chair of this organization.
Congratulations. And being, I think you are one of the few that being ethnic and minority person and being a woman,
yes,
to be a chairperson of such big organization.
All those boxes are ticked.
Yeah,
yeah, the first one to hold that position. I have to say my board is amazing, very supportive, can't do the work without them. So this organization, we were just talking before as well, people don't realize how big it is and how much it does for the community. ਸਾਡੇ ਹੈਗੇ probably 19 location ਹੈਗੇ ਆ।
Okay.
Right? They ਸਾਡੇ employees over 600, over 80 programs, and volunteers any given time between 300 to 400 volunteers. So it's a very big organization. Some of the main ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ programs, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ women fleeing violence. So we have homes, transition homes for women fleeing violence. We have homeless shelters as well, for people in the community, and shelters for people with mental health issues that need to have a place to stay. We have employment programs for immigrant refugee services, WorkSafe BC programs, programs for family and youth, ਜਿਹੜੇ youth at risk ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। You name it, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਆਮ families ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ problems ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, we have a program to help that issue, address that issue at Options. So it's very comprehensive. It's a huge organization, and I think we're finally getting the recognition by, and we'll talk about it a bit, doing the galas and events that Ranj is going to be involved in supporting as well.
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk about it, and I have a few questions. So Ranj, you are on an artistic side. Tell about your artistic, an art side, your career, and how you started, and how you feeling after your accident now.
I'm feeling much better now. So thank you, Professor.
That's good to know that. Yeah.
My history goes back a little over 40 years for music. I've been playing since I was a little child. There was 5 of us brothers, all 1 year apart, and we were farmers in Surrey. We started farming in 1968, and so we've got some history here. And all 5 brothers are musicians. So we were giving my mom headaches when we were very little. We used to flip over buckets on the farm and make drum sets out of those, and we used to tie rubber bands to sticks to make guitars. And so ever since we were little, that was our love and our passion. So I started a long, long time ago. But when I started playing professionally, it was in 1983. I grew up in there was very few Punjabi people in our community at that time. My school, elementary school, high school, was all 95% were Caucasian, and small percentage of Chinese and Indian. And so it was hard growing up back in those days. Lots of racism, lots of fights. We were always getting into trouble. There was always something going on. But music was part of my life that kept me a little bit on the sane side. But growing up, I honestly did not care about my culture, Punjabi culture, music, or anything like that. All I listened to was rock and roll. All my friends were Gores, so it was different. And then I was in college for a semester. A friend of mine bought me a ticket to a show. Jasbir Man was this friend, one of the first Punjabi people I met after high school.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, "Come on, I'm going to take you to a show." And I said, "Oh." It was a surprise. We get to the theater, and it's Jagjit Singh, Chitra Singh.
Yeah, yeah.
And I, like I said, was not familiar with Indian music. And I'm looking, the curtain opens, and there's Jagjit Singh and his lovely wife on the floor, sitting down with a baja. Tabla on the one side, bansuri on the other side with a bucket full of flutes, and 2 acoustic guitars behind. And I honestly said to myself, this is going to be boring. What am I doing here? And the music started playing, and within 30 seconds, I had tears in my eyes. It was the most beautiful music I ever heard. And I was mesmerized, and I left that concert just enlightened. And Jasbir says to me on our drive back, he's dropping me off home, he goes, "I heard you play guitar." I go, "A little bit." He goes, "You want to join a band?" I said, "Sure, okay." Didn't ask any questions. It was his brother's band, who is Harpajan Man and Gosevik Man. And so their very first shows back in 1983, when they first formed a band, I was one of the original members, and I played with them for 8 or 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Thousands of shows all over North America before he became big in India in the late 90s and early 2000s. So that was my start in music. And I learned about my culture, fell in love with my culture, fell in love with the music, and incorporated that into the music that I play today.
Thank you for sharing that. I will come back and have a few questions about that. So my guest, Kamaljit Lehal and Ranj Singh, one is a community person, another is a community person in a different way. He's an artist. I love the artist always. That's a little bit part of me as well. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ question ਹੈ, you can directly call them and ask the questions to Kamaljit or to Ranj. Our numbers are running on the screen, 604-695-9555. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ call ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ question ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. So Kamaljit, let's get back to what you were talking about, your organization. So my quick question is, there is a lot of organization very similar, like we have a PIX, we have a diversity. So there's an option, there is in a Chinese community like Success, and how you guys different and how you guys are similar.
I haven't put us side by side. I just know I can share from my personal experience being with the options from being out of high school. Okay, they really have their hand on the pulse of the community. They have grown with the community, and they understand the needs. And housing, which is a big issue.
Just sorry to interrupt you. ਜਿਹੜੇ South Asian community ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ community, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਹਾਈ ਸਕੂਲ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ community ਇਸ organization ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੁ involve ਸੀ?
Community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ I think it's grown with the community. ਹੁਣ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ community ਵੱਧ ਗਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਲੋੜਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ. For example, one of our ਜਿਹੜਾ main program ਚਾਲੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ is a detox program, which we started. And that is a project that we proposed to the government and said we want to do this home-based detox project because our community, focused on our community, we do see a lot of problems, unfortunately, with drugs, and going into rehab facility is not always possible, right? So this program brings the doctors and nurses the support to the house. And it's just been launched, I believe, just a year ago. It's been quite successful. People from the community are benefiting from staying at home and receiving the support and care they need as they detox.
Is there any age group that you guys cater to, or regardless?
I don't believe there's any age group. I think, it's the focus is on the South Asian community to help them. And so ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਉੱਥੇ
ਸੇ
ਨਰਸ
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ
yes
ਤੁਸੀਂ
at home support
At
Yeah,
home
at home so ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਸ project because it's a very new project SFU is involved to assess it ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ report ਲਿਖਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ
okay
Yeah, so we'll find out. But on the ground, what we're hearing from the participants and the families is they're very thankful that program ਸਾਡੀ community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ and is benefiting our people at home.
ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ
I think it's been about a year. It's fairly new.
So what kind of results ਜਾਂ ਕੀ early ਜਿਹੜੇ results ਹੈ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ
Yeah, I don't have the full data on that, but ਇੰਨਾ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ feedback ਹੈ that people are doing well. They are benefiting from staying at home and receiving the support. That's a big ingredient here. ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ rehab facility to jana penda, you're disconnected from your family. This is a more holistic approach with your family support, with doctors and nurses at home. So that's one of the big things we've done to support our community, as well as, there's issues around gang violence and this and that. So we're cognizant of that, and we have a Game Changers Fund that has helped some people in that arena as well to get out of that lifestyle.
Another thing, just while we were on this topic, ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ they feel as a shame coming out and declaring that they have drug addict at home or alcoholic at home. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ how you overcome that part as your organization?
I think there's our organization, many others as well, ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ educate ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ. We hold forums and we explain ਕਿ this is not something to be embarrassed about. Even mental illness, ਸਾਡੀ community don't like ਮੰਨਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਦੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ maybe someone has some sort of mental illness. So these are slowly education. Our organization is out there in the community, talking to people, holding forums through the different programs we have. We're right out in the community speaking to people.
Yeah. So I'll switch gear a little bit because both are equally important. So you came with the name Discriminators for your band. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was actually just out of a joke at the time. I've always been not a troublemaker, but a bit of a yahoo all the time, always having fun. That's my motto in life is, no matter what's happening in your life, just try to enjoy every moment of it. And, so these gentlemen, actually, the bands I was in before were a majority Punjabi bands. Harpajan was all Punjabi. The second band I was in was an artist named Dalhoti.
Dalhoti, yeah.
And the 4 brothers were in that band with him, along with 2 Caucasian guys. But this one I'm the only Punjabi guy. And these are 4
I saw the names.
So, and they, all different styles of music. My violin player, he's German background, French-Canadian guitarist, Canadian drummer. Our bass player, who also plays sitar, is Serbian. So they have all these different deep backgrounds in music. And whenever we were together, joking and everything, when we formed the band, we didn't have an idea what we were going to call the band. But Dan, our violin player, came up with that name. He goes, "What about the Discriminators? Because we're always discriminating against you, picking on me all the time."
Okay,
I deserve it. I earn it. So it just came out as at the time
as a joke, and
and it's stuck with us. And people are like, "Well, that's kind of a cool name." Kind of
so that's what I thought when I saw the name.
Yeah.
I thought because you felt the discrimination. And that's why you came up with the discriminator. I've
always used them as an excuse. You guys are discriminating against me. And it's not. It's farthest from the truth, but it's fun.
So Kamaljit, talking about all the issues, I love that. The contradiction, not a contradiction, but contrast between what you do and what Ranj does. I love that. I'm
enjoying hearing more about what he's doing.
I tell you, both are equally. It's a fabric of our community that we miss out sometime. Diversity,
and now we have collaboration.
Collaboration.
We're very excited about this.
And that's a beauty. ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ Ranj and Kamaljit, it came in full circle now. And having said that, discrimination hale vi nahi khatam hoya. Racism vi nahi finish hoya. It's under the carpet. and we call it systemic racism.
Yeah.
So ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਜਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਭਾਵਾਂ ਗੋਰੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ openly politicians ਨਾਲ and it's very you know open topic nowadays. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਡਰ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ whatever. So coming back to that, I think after COVID your services even more get importance because of the mental health and other issues. People were isolated, they don't know what to do and where to go. People ਘਰੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਡਰਗ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. So that how you dealt with the
Well, definitely one of the things we saw during the pandemic, there was I think 300% increase in domestic violence.
wow.
Yeah. So and what I'm really impressed at is even though ਸਾਡੇ staff and a lot of ਜਿਹੜੇ community see essential workers, ਸਾਡੇ students ਵੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਹਨਾ at the front lines, our staff was still trying to help people going through crisis, on top of crisis. They really came through and they were a beacon of hope for many other people. So, I mean, they did the work that needed to be done, even in the midst of a pandemic. So we helped this escalated epidemic in a pandemic, and we helped people as much as we could throughout.
Yeah, that's very, I think it's just amazing job that need to be done in our community, and you know, you guys are doing it. How your organization? You have board members, then you have executive members.
Yeah, so board Hagi, I think we're about 14 board members right now from diverse backgrounds, and then we have the executive, and you know, then like I said, it's about 600 employees that are.
So it's a large organization.
It's one of the largest in South Fraser, social service organization. And yeah, so it's got its footprint definitely here in this community. It's grown with this community. And I'm just excited, you know, to come here to talk to you today about ਜਿਹੜੀ collaboration ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੈਗੇ, combining music to help the issue of housing, which is in crisis point in our.
I will be coming to that.
Yeah.
And so ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਮਲਜੀਤ ਲੇਹਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਦੇ ਚੇਅਰਵੂਮਨ ਹੈ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲਿਖੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਲਈ, ਕਾਫੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ. ਤੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਰੈਂਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨੇਟਰ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੈਂਡ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੌਕੀਨ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੌਨਸਰਟ ਹੈ ਬੜੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਦੀ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਸੋ ਰੈਂਜ ਇਸ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਐਂਡ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਫੀਲਡ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਟਫ ਫੀਲਡ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ. ਪੈਸੇ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ. ਤੇ and I know that I deal with a lot of artists, people, you know, friends or whatever, or like to interview them here and there. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਹਲੇ ਵੀ ਟਫ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ?
It's a tough industry, ਪਰ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ persistent ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਕੰਮ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ. I'm a full-time musician. I quit my job 2.5 years ago, and I play over 200 shows a year now as a solo artist. But it's doable. You have to pay your dues. You have to put in the work. I remember sleeping in vehicles, touring all over North America. We did a 5-week tour of India, and on the surface you make it look like you're rock stars. Everything's going beautiful. You wear the fancy clothes. And when I had hair, it was long hair, and it was you know, you live that lifestyle. But dunia nu ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੰਮ, like what you're doing here, for example. You have a show. It could be 45 minutes or an hour. The hours of production and work that goes behind the scenes, people don't know
True.
that. And so our life as entertainers in this industry, it's a tough life. I missed so many birthdays, my little girls growing up, Christmas, New Year's, because you're chasing this dream and you see this light at the end of this tunnel and you're thinking, we're almost there. And there was a bunch of times we were almost right there. And then reality kicks in, the bills are there and everything's got to be taken care of and you fall back. But I stayed with it. Was my passion and my dream. at 60 years old, my dream came true. So I'm a happy puppy these days. So.
Well, that's good to know. Because मेरी ਜਿਹੜੀ driving force है, and a lot of us are in the same boat. I'm one of them. This is a passion for me. What I'm doing, talking to you guys, and you know, I have all day of work. When I do that, and you know, even my wife and my children and good friends say that. You bitch and complain about that. Oh my God, another show. I have to prepare a little bit, like you said. And when I come out of that, I said, oh man, isn't it feels good?
Yeah.
Like it's totally different feeling.
It's a reward.
It's a rewarding.
Yeah.
It's a rewarding that can't be replaced with the money.
No. It's something, like just this discussion alone, for me, it's the history it brings back. My great-grandfather was here in Surrey 117 years ago. He worked on the railroad. And he went back to India and told my Paiji about this town, and we eventually made our way out here. So we've got some deep, deep roots here. And when you're growing up in that environment, and I'm listening to Kamaljit talk about the abuse and everything else that goes on, I remember being taught as a young kid, the more you're not a man until you drink. That's our culture.
That's culture. Yeah.
And it's wrong. And it was damaging in so many ways.
Yes.
So and these kind of, when we get together and we share these stories, and it opens a lot more eyes and ears to what's really going on within our culture, And I think that's pretty much our goal of what we're trying to do here, is to share these stories and let everybody know what's going on behind the scenes.
It's so true. Kamaljit, in our culture, it's a party time, you drink. If you're sad, you drink. If you have nothing to do, you're bored, you drink. Yeah. So, like Rand said, it's so embedded in our culture and it's causing a lot of problems. You probably see that in your organization.
Of course. I mean, I think in any community where there's alcohol, drugs involved, is going to disrupt and cause chaos, right, in the family and the environment. And it's constant education and telling people this is not good, this is not healthy, what's healthy behavior. And slowly our community, hopefully, and other communities will learn. We're not immune. Other communities are not immune. They also face these problems.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Because, it's very true that ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ no community is immune. ਹਰ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਰੱਗ ਐਂਡ ਐਲਕੋਹਲ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਇਕੁਅਲੀ ਡੈਥਸ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਯੰਗ ਪੀਪਲਸ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਡਾਕਟਰਸ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨਸ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦਾ, we have an epidemic in British Columbia. We're losing 6-7 people a day because of drug overdose. This number is alarming. And it crosses all the boundaries. Coming back to your comment, it's South Asian, mainstream, or any culture for that matter, or any age.
Yeah.
And so how your organization, tell us a little bit, our viewers, ਕਿਹੜੇ program ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ detox ਦਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਘਰੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ help provide ਕਰਦੇ
That is the program, detox ਘਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ. That's a newer program, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ people, if they, I don't want to paint a stereotype, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ drugs ਤੇ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, sometimes ਫਿਰ job ਛੱਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, we get back to the housing problem and helping people. It's like you can't take one thing and try and solve it. You have to solve the whole puzzle,
yeah, it's
right?
a multiple, because like Rand said, then the bill is waiting for you to
Exactly.
pay, and then the breadwinner is on the bed with the alcoholism or drugs.
Or someone might turn to that if they don't have housing or they're stressed, right? I mean, it's the one compounding the other. But I think the biggest thing right now is the basic human right of having a house, a roof over your head.
Roti, kapda, and makan.
Yeah.
These are the fundamental need of any human being.
Many people don't have that.
That's
and
true.
are at risk of losing that.
Yes.
So this is what we've come today to talk about, the collaboration, and what we're hoping that our community, which is very generous, will come forward and support what we're about to do.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true that, so how you guys reach out to the people where the problem is and how people reach out to you. Just share with our viewers what is the best way of.
Well, I mean, ਜਿਹੜੀ options organization ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ number ਹੈਗਾ on the website. So one person may call for a particular program. Maybe they need a shelter. ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ they need some other care with some other mental health illness, or maybe so one organization program will connect them to another program within options, or they may need help finding a job. So ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ WorkSafe BC, the employment program ਹੈਗਾ. So they may connect them with there. So there's so many doors that you can come through to options, which will lead to other doors in options.
So your website, what is your website called?
www.optionscommunityservices.ca.
.ca,
Yeah.
okay. And the phone numbers, probably nowadays, everything is on.
It's online.
And you guys will be properly on social media as well.
Oh, yes. They're on all social media platforms. Yeah.
So Ranj, coming back to you, artists ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਲੇਬਲ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਆ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਾਲੀਵੁੱਡ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਡਨ ਡੈਥਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਦੇ ਡਰੱਗਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਲਕੋਹਲ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ and I don't want to name any big artist name, but you know that what I'm talking about. How in your career you ਕਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਤੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਡੀਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਦੇ
Well, ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਜੀ experience ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ it's it can be very lonely when you're out there doing what you're doing and you're away from, like I said, from family and you're always looking back and thinking maybe should have finished school, maybe I should have done this, and you take that when you're by yourself, you tend to take that abuse on yourself. And reaching for alcohol and drugs is an it's easy access these days, unfortunately. Some people can live their lives doing moderate things, whether it's drugs or alcohol, and still you will never know who that person has a problem. They function normally, and then there's some folks that fall off the deep end and they struggle their entire lives trying to get back. It's the entertainment industry there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's so much of it, and from all aspects of the hours alone, the time away from everybody. It's and then sometimes when you fall hard, and you just think, well, why am I doing this?
And sometimes the fame comes so early and so much money.
Yeah. Yes.
And that is overwhelming too to handle and deal with that.
It is. I mean, the two bands that I played in the 80s and 90s were Hartaj and with Dal. That band was called Dal Dil Vag, and we got international acclaim with that band in the 90s. Till this day, when I perform, a lot of people still remember that band. They remember who's the guy who sang Kabhi Kabhi, half English, half Hindi. And they remember, they go, oh, I remember you guys' band. We were playing to schools, kids who are in their 30s now and 40s, like, oh, I remember you when you came to our school. So it warms your heart. But then also you look back and go, how, like I said, on the surface, you make it look like everything's perfect. But they don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
And not the music alone industry or artists or performers and actors and actresses. There's a lot of sides of being an artist.
Yeah.
And that industry is not alone. All the high performing people in any organization, either you're running your own business or your practice, you go to the trenches.
Yeah.
People probably see the other end of the final result of the success and everything.
Yeah.
But going through that process, that's a pretty interesting, a bumpy road in times. But it's like you said, what I do or what Kamaljit do, it's a worthwhile things to do. Yeah. So you guys, have a very exciting 100 unit that house you guys built. Tell a little bit of our viewers.
Yeah, so that was a project, I think, last 5-6 years that chalda si. Habitat in 81st, we call it.
Yeah.
So haga 100 units, affordable housing. Ode vich haga te as saal launch kitta si. Khulya siga. Te ode building de vich niche hage options, the actual offices we have here and
Yes.
resources. ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ housing build ਕੀਤੀ ਅਸੀਂ. So that took quite a bit of time. ਪਹਿਲੇ ਥੋੜੀ challenge ਸੀਗੀ to ਜਿਹੜੇ community ਨੂੰ satisfy ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ this is good for the community. ਕਈ ਦਫਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ affordable housing ਲਿਆਉਣ ਲੱਗੇ, what is that going to mean for our community? So we had a public sort of meeting ਉੱਥੇ on the land, vacant land, where we invited them. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਜੋ normal challenges on the building a building of that magnitude is the first time we did something like that. It was a big project. And then housing, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੀਤੀ, choosing the tenants, I think we had 600 expressions of interest for the units. We had to stop at 200. And it was, we had a team going through the interviews, and selecting was a very difficult process and decision to say no to some and then accept. And it's from that this has steamrolled out of this collaboration now that we need to, it's an urgent issue. We need to do more fundraising. So, and that project was done through a fund Ginny had set up. We came here before and spoke about.
Yes, 25 women.
No, 50 women of options.
50 women.
50 women of options in 2020 came together from the community. So professionals, different backgrounds, came together. Each raised 25,000, 1.5 million in a pandemic. In 5 or 6 months, they raised it. I remember those. Yeah. So Penny Pretty was part of that, helping us there. And some of those same women then became part of a next campaign. Our second campaign was Game Changers, raising money for youth. Because we've used options as used a discretionary fund to help youth, but we needed a more robust fund to help youth. Because ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ province 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ 19 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ministry ਦੇ care ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ on your own ਹੈਗੇ.
Yes.
You have to figure out life on your own. So we had 50 women of options to do that. Now we have the entrepreneur of options. 36 business people from the community have stepped forward to help with housing, and they are collaborating with our friend here and other music friends here to put on an amazing gala, Building for Hope concert, which is taking place September 28th.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
We need to get to that. So Building Hope Gala concert featuring Jan Arden and special guest. And Ranj, you are one of them.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it and what you're looking forward to and what your role will be.
Well, it's an opportunity to perform. I write a lot of songs, and most of my songs are about, majority of my songs are about real life. I write about alcoholism. I write about depression. I write about being bullied. And so music being a universal language, it's an opportunity for myself to share my music. I sing in English, but the music is more on the Indian side. And the discriminators, who all happen to be all Caucasian, play the Indian music, and I'm the Punjabi guy singing in English. So it's a bit of a mix, but I want to get that message across through music about those stories of struggling to be a musician, or whether it's being bullied, but the concert itself it's the 3 different artists, the Twin Flames and Jan Arden. Jan Arden is a multi award winning artist, and Twin Flames are amazing as well too. So for myself, I am so humbled and honored to have an opportunity to open the performance for that evening.
And you will be obviously with the team you told.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our five-piece band will be performing. I've been playing solo for years now, and it's been 12 years since the last time we played together as a group. And when this opportunity came up and I reached out to them, there was no hesitation. They said, "Love to do it. Let's do this." So. We're a little bit older, a little bit more grayer now, but I think...
maybe more wiser.
Some of us, me maybe not.
Siyaane bhi ho gaye.
But siyaane nahi. We're still a bunch of yahoos that we were. It's all fun. It's all in fun.
That's good. It's have to be a little bit Kamala-ness. Not alluding your name, Kamaljit. Thoda Kamala bhi hona
Totally different meaning.
So Kamaljit, tell us and our viewers a little bit more about that concert. What your expectations are, how people can get tickets, what are the price points, if you want like to share with the
Yeah, so ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ September 28th ਨੂੰ concert ਹੈਗਾ, I think it starts at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the kickoff to the entrepreneur of options. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ organize ਕੀਤਾ, but behind the scenes, as we've talked, you're going to go to this concert, but it's been a lot of work, and I have not been on this committee that's been involved in this music committee. I believe you've been part of it from the get-go. It's been 2 years in the work to get this gala going. And I think tickets go as high as 200?
No, start at 200.
Start at 200?
200, and then the highest VIP tickets are $1,000. But all proceeds are going to options. All the proceeds will be going towards
the housing.
It's not the ticketing office, it's not the artist, it's going towards...
So the artists are performing free of cost?
No, there are some, there are obviously Jan Arden and some artists that were flying in from across Canada and accommodation and everything else. There is some payments made for sure, but not, the bulk of this is all for options.
That's for a good cause.
It is. And I mean, today's tickets, the main concerts that you go to in Vancouver and whatnot, the tickets are in the hundreds of dollars for a lot of the top acts. Jan Arden is one of those top acts, but to be able to add this incentive of helping out so many people through options is it's the biggest bonus of all.
So what is Kamaljit ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੀ expectation ਹੈਗੀ ਵੇ ਇਸ concert ਤੋਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਤੁਸੀਂ raise ਕਰਕੇ and it's calling bringing the vision to life habitat, right?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ
I think the maximum that we can get, I'm not going to put a dollar and short sell myself or options, but I mean, ਮੇਰੀ ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ community, not just ਆਪਣੀ South Asian community, ਸਾਰੀ community ਆਉਗੀ and support this. Again, ਸਾਰੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਜਾਣੇ ਹੈਗੇ towards housing. We are at a crisis with housing in our community. We all need to do our part. So this is a great where you're going to be entertained. Again, this is a kickoff for the entrepreneurs of options. So these are 36 business people who have stepped forward to help raise funds for housing. So this is our next chapter of building. And we're trying to think of creative ways to deal with housing as well, using some of our existing land as well, seeing what we can build on that. So we're having discussions with the city of Surrey, with the province as well, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ to accomplish these goals. So if we can do it on existing land or buy other land and build, or other creative ways, we're looking at that.
So yeah, that's a good point. And my next question leading towards funding ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ fundraiser is one.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
How the federal or provincial governments or other governments are
They contribute in different ways. So BC Housing was ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡਾ Habitat in 81st ਹੈਗਾ was a big part of that project, as well as the city played a role. They all give their aid the way they can, and we appreciate that.
So Ranj, we're almost at the closing. I look at that, 45, 50 minutes goes so fast when we're having fun talking. So my last question to you, and you can make a closing remark as well. What is the low point as an artist for you, and what was the high point? And you can allude to what we are expecting that day on September 28th.
Well, I think the low point for any artist is you have to get used to rejection.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, 95% of the time you're being rejected. And at first it hurts, and then after a while you get thick skin and you get used to it. And then if you stay true to yourself and believe in what it is that you're doing, the doors will open, the windows will open, and then you just walk through and
keep on doing.
Keep
put your head down.
To tear the bandage off and just keep going. The high points, I've been very fortunate. Played some big shows with Harbhajan and with Dal and even my own band at the time. But I play a lot of shows solo for folks with disabilities, for seniors' homes. In my neighborhood in the Lower Mainland. I did a lot of work with the Acquired Brain Injury Group in Surrey. Those are my highlight gigs, because the smile on the face of someone who's shut in, the seniors, especially during COVID, I would play in the parking lot so they could hear me from their balconies, because we were not allowed to go inside. Those are far more rewarding than any of the other shows.
So what we are expecting on September 20th?
You're expecting a little bit of comedy, some melodic music, some stories, and some songs written from my heart, that I want to share in stories across. It'll be fun. It'll be an amazing evening of 3 different styles of music coming together on one stage. It's going to be very enjoyable.
Kamaljit, your final remarks and what you expect from our viewers, our community.
Just, again, come to the concert. It's going to be amazing. The community come together. I believe the web page where you can get the tickets is www.buildinghopeconcert.ca.
.ca.
So look there and get your tickets and support this cause for our community.
Well, thank you guys. I love talking to you guys, and probably will come on my show again one way or the other. Appreciate your time and really appreciate what you guys do for the community. Thank you, Ranj. Thank you, Kamaljit.
Thanks for having us.
So ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਮਲਜੀਤ ਲੇਹਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਚੇਅਰਪਰਸਨ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਐਂਡ ਰੈਂਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੈਂਡ ਹੈ ਦ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨੇਟਰਸ ਯੂ ਹਰਡ ਅਬਾਊਟ them ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਸੁਣੀਆਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਗਾਰਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਐਪਰੀਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ DNA ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਆ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਫਲ ਫੁੱਲ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵਿਟੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਮੈਸੇजेस ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ that touches my heart that community doing a lot of good work. Some bad apples here and there, that's okay. It happens everywhere with every community. Look at the positives. Take a high road. And I always get excited with Michelle Obama's quote that when they go low, we go high. So always think about positive. So anyways, guys, this is the show. Nice talking to them. As you know, we will be celebrating Canada Day on July 1st. And just enjoy nicely. It's a great time. We live in a wonderful country, wonderful province of British Columbia, wonderful city of Surrey. Have a happy, healthy, long weekend and enjoy Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. Tanwad. Rab Rakha. Sat Sri Akal.